technology is likely to change the way we work, the way we engage, and the way we deliver value to maybe the enterprises we work with or customers we deal with. But how is that going to actually get implemented, and how is that going to play out in your lives, whether you're a manager or whether you're a consumer? Well, to talk about that, I'm joined by someone who's best placed to look at the world beyond, and that's Ian Khan, a futurist, and who's also worked on a bunch of startups of his own in the past, and therefore has seen the world from all sides. Ian, thank you very much for being with us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So it's always a very broad brush thing to start with, right? So when you say, or when someone asks you, what is the future of technology looking like? And let me supplement to that by asking, how am I going to, as a consumer or a user or a manager, going to start feeling these changes or the emerging tech changes, and how is it going to affect my life?
That's a great question. Emerging technology, in my opinion, is not something that will happen tomorrow or 5 years from now. If we look at our lives today in any modern civilized part of the world, whether it's a developing nation, it's a third world, or one of the developed nations, technology is everywhere. Take a look at your smartphone. From Africa to Amsterdam, everybody has a smartphone, and our lives are completely dictated by this revolutionary thing that happened to us maybe 10, 12 years ago. And so smartphones haven't been there for too long. And that's just a very small example to show that something so small could have such a revolutionary effect on us, and how fast that kind of grew to where we are right now. So in many ways, we don't have to go anywhere far. We have to look at our lives today and see what is technology doing for us today, and try and understand that what could be the future. And there's so many ways to doing that. You can study companies in a formal way, you can look at products around us, but you could also look at how services are delivered, how organizations are making e-commerce possible, the rise of Airbnb, the rise of Uber as a disruptor to the taxi industry. There's so many examples right where we are right now that will help us understand the trend that is shaping the world right now and where potentially it could go.
Right. So in some ways, the future is also defined or being defined by the disruptors and the way they're delivering services to customers. Because customers' expectations are now changing, and they're now expecting something bigger and better and more sophisticated than ever before, despite the fact that they may still be in the middle income bracket and using only a middle income smartphone.
Absolutely. So customers are definitely, the technology has moved from being in the lab where back in the day people would do experiments and they would build computers and they would use that. It's gone beyond that. And right now technology is in the hands of 3-year-olds who are giving ideas to companies that can start an education app and start that app and serve maybe thousands of 3-year-olds that have a need to learn something, and parents will buy those apps. I have a 3-year-old and I know exactly what I'm talking about. So consumers are dictating a lot around one side of tech, where the trend goes and what's happening. But from a workplace perspective as well, companies are trying to find out better ways of being more efficient, saving more money, saving more cost, so that they can have more impact, they can create more value, they can have more happy employees, and they can have happiness and productivity around the company. The days are gone from the 9 to 5, and today we're living in the era of the 4-hour work week in many parts of the world.
And you feel these are connected, the emerging technology trends and the way people would like to define their workspaces and their work lives?
I think so. I think there's a connection, but then there's also a disconnect. Now the connection is because in certain communities, certain companies, or certain, let's say, places where technology is very common, the expectation is that when is the next version coming out? When is the next bigger thing coming out? But I think in some places we're still struggling with even the adoption of a basic technology such as cloud, which is not new. And I see a lot of different industries, accounting, manufacturing, still struggling with the fact that they are not on the cloud, they're not digital, and they're still asking the question, why should we do this? And getting them to understand this is the problem right now. So we have a huge range of people across the world in terms of companies who need to understand technology and see what to do with it. So trends, of course, are shaping what we do as well, but